It has come to a point where Ghana will have to make up a mind on whether we want to ban this LGBTQ thing for good or not. And the president of Ghana will have to stand by the decision of we the people who have made our intentions clear through parliament, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we all need to know. We cannot sit on the fence anymore when it comes to this subject. Whether you are a politician or a civilian, you need to pick a side. This is why all over the world, people have so much respect for Ibrahim Traore. Did you know that the Anti-LGBTQ bill in Burkina Faso was passed by the country's transitional parliament on 1st September 2025? And in that same month, on 25th September 2025, Captain Ibrahim Traoré had signed it into law. No long talk, no beating around the bush. Straight to the point, he just signed it and he lived by the consequences, whether good or bad. That's what a decisive person does, ladies and gentlemen. We will have to make up our mind, especially the president of Ghana. And when we do, we will have to be ready for some of the most probable outcomes. This is what life is all about, ladies and gentlemen. You protect your mental and moral sanity at all times. When you choose to allow people to engage in the acts of the LGBTQ plus community in Ghana, whatever gratification there is for the small percentage of people who live that lifestyle, plus the perks of gifts and the investment or grants or aids that comes with it, that is what you will receive, whether internally or from external sources. That is a fact. That is on one hand, ladies and gentlemen. And it will also come with everything that has to do with its direct attack on our moral code as a country and a society. Everything that has to do with our moral code, from inside our schools to the workplace to churches and all, it will all come under direct attack the moment you allow us for it. It will log heads with everything that has to do with our society and our moral benchmarks. This is on one hand. On the other hand, when you choose to make it illegal, whatever that has to do with maintaining the family structure of this country and the moral codes of our society will be upheld. This will mean our way of life as a nation and the continuity of our norms and values will have been prioritized, ladies and gentlemen. However, these other countries or organizations that may not send us gifts or grants or investments based on our stance will equally do what is fit for them. We don't even need it in the first place, ladies and gentlemen, if we got our act together. All these are the facts on the table, ladies and gentlemen. Being neutral at this point isn't an option. And so, whatever the case may be, Ghana will have to make this decision again, like we did last year, and the president will have to side with what the people want, ladies and gentlemen. But there is a certain level of disingenuity that I see with the two presidents of Ghana when it comes to signing this bill into law. And I hope the current president proves me wrong. Please watch this. Because Ghana has chosen to be a country that begs or seek the approval of other countries, let me rephrase it properly. Because the leadership of this country in the last 35 years has chosen to be beggars or be looking for the praise of the international community, they are unable to make up their mind on this critical subject and many other essential topics of public concern in Ghana. The leadership of this country is struggling to make a decision that resonates with our way of life or what the people want, fearing, ladies and gentlemen, that their decision may trigger someone's displeasure and that person or donor may not send us the perks that they would normally send to us. They love those perks, ladies and gentlemen. Politicians love those perks. They love to have visas issued them for their medical checks and vacations overseas, and also love receiving the grants, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, presidents are fearful of signing it into law because they know they need those favors. We've been begging and trying to appease all these people for so long a time. Until when? we've been consistent with our need for assistance to the point where we don't have an identity of our own, just so we can appease people or countries or organizations or donors. Ghana is bigger than that. Ghana is bigger than any form of aid or grant. There is nothing Ghana cannot get on her own. The leadership of this country has an obligation to protect and maintain the moral balance of this country at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. We have to protect what our children are taught in schools, especially in the schools. We don't need to make Ghana look Western. We don't. We have an identity of our own, which is illustrated in our culture and traditions. We cannot sell out for any amount of money or promise. Our generations to come must be protected with the decisions we make today. Therefore, no amount of Western influence or economic manipulation should ever make us give up on what has kept this country together. The Ghanaian society begins with a father and a wife in a committed relationship where children are raised and taught the values of our society. This is good. We don't need to change it or add to it. This is what makes the bill essential, ladies and gentlemen. This bill, when passed, will provide the legal framework and protection and the needed legal backing to ensure that the excesses are cut out. But these politicians, ladies and gentlemen, want to play with it. And for that reason, the bill was passed by Parliament in the last administration. And the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, sat on it. He played politics with it until the term elapsed, and then he left it behind. And now it is with the president, the current president of Ghana, since January of this year, and he's sitting on it, playing politics with it until the term has expired again. Haruna Idrisu was in Parliament talking about who should have signed it and promising that it will be signed. Well, I know he's playing the blame game. I know he's playing the blame game at this point to make his party look innocent. I can only respect what he's saying when I see it repassed in Parliament and then signed into law by the president. Then he earns my respect. Until then, it's neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been observing, I'm sorry to tell you that these two political parties are literally playing games and politics with the interest of Ghanaians. And it's not just about the LGBTQ plus bill, but also with Galamsey. They have every legal and political ability to sign the gay bill into law or shut down the operations of people destroying our country in search of gold permanently. But that isn't what they want to do. They know the people involved in the enterprise and those who own and finance these activities. And at any time, they can put the clamp on them. But where is the political will to make that move, ladies and gentlemen? Whenever it's convenient and suitable to their political agenda, they go for it and get things done in the shortest possible time. But when it is not going to aid their partisan agenda, they become lackadaisical and drag their feet. They never get anything completed on time. These are facts. This is the system politicians have built in Ghana. The LGBTQ plus bill was passed by Ghana's parliament on 28th February 2024. Ghana's 8th parliament was dissolved on 6th January 2025, and the bill lapsed. On 25th of February, a group of MPs reintroduced the bill to Parliament, and on the 21st October 2025, the bill was programmed for its first reading in the 9th Parliament. A roller coaster of such an essential subject, ladies and gentlemen. They are looking at the pros and cons of this law, not because they want to safeguard the moral code of this nation, no, but to ensure that they don't piss off their donors. Meanwhile, the spread of this lifestyle is taking root in many communities, in the capital, especially in the coastal areas. Young men and women around the coastal towns are targeted and are being groomed into this lifestyle for monetary reasons, ladies and gentlemen. These are facts, and hence the law must be passed and enforced. This roller coaster must stop. Mr. President, this roller coaster must stop with you. You have all the support from us. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. I'm Cyrus, and this is Tuntum Network in Accra, Ghana. Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for more of my videos. I'll see you in the next one. It is bye-bye for now.